Hello, hello. How is everybody? Yeah. Thank you so much for coming. My name is James. I'm the executive director of Miami Film Festival, and we're just so thrilled to have you all here. This is going to be a very special conversation, and I know you're all going to have such a great time. So thank you for coming. I just wanted to mention that Miami Film Festival's just started. This is our second day this year, and already it's been fantastic. We're having so many events. We've actually got quite a couple more with Variety to come, and Variety obviously are our partner on this event. We have Tom Hiddleston, who you all know from all the big Marvel movies, on Tuesday. That's at the Adrian Arch Center, and I highly recommend you get some tickets because it's going to be a fantastic conversation. And we also have Cheryl Lee Ralph on next Saturday. She is an icon. Many of you will know her from her current breakout in Abbott Elementary, but she's also very well known for Broadway, in particular for Dreamgirls. Yeah, she's iconic. So we're going to have her here in this room. You should absolutely come by because she is an incredible speaker. She's really going to bring the house down. So we'd love to see you. For whatever reason, we're just a celebrity magnet this year because that's not all we have. In addition, we've got Heather Graham, who I'm absolutely loving this. Could you just scream like that at everything I say? Thank you. This is great. In addition, Alison Brie is coming next weekend. You'll know her from Community amongst many, many, many other roles. She's fantastic. She's here for her next series, Apples Never Fall, and we're thrilled to have her. We've got Jeremy Piven, who won many Emmys for Entourage. We've got just Lady Camden, who came second in Drag Race 2 seasons ago, is going to come, and she's yes, let's do it. Thank you. Keep doing that. She's also fantastic. So we want you to keep coming out to the festival. We want you to keep attending all these amazing conversations we're having and seeing some films. So keep coming. This is clear your schedules. If you had dinner with a friend, tell them no. Miami Film Festival is your priority. This is your new home. You're our new family. So thank you so much. And I'm going to let Lauren here say a few things about this particular event.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren Cohen, the Director of Programming at the festival, and we are so excited to have our first Variety event of the 41st Miami Film Festival. Let's give it up for our partners, Variety. Just a huge thank you to Variety for making tonight happen. A huge thank you to Miami-Dade College for making tonight happen. We are so excited to be welcoming an absolute icon here to Wolfson campus, Molly Ringwald. Yes! I mean, I honestly cannot believe this is happening right now. I grew up absolutely obsessed with movies such as 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink, The Breakfast Club. I mean, come on, that's insane. And I mean, it has such an incredible career with TV shows like Monster and Feud, which if you haven't watched Feud yet, you absolutely have to. It is incredible. So we are so excited to have here tonight, and we are so excited to have the wonderful Clayton Davis with Variety here tonight to present Molly. Yes, give it up for Clayton Davis. To present Molly with Variety's Creative Vanguard Award. Let's welcome Clayton Davis.
Thank you. Let me get out of the way.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. My name is Clayton Davis. I'm the Senior Awards Editor at Variety. When she started saying an absolute icon, I thought she was going to say my name right after, and she didn't. So thanks, Lauren, for that. Before I introduce the Variety Creative Vanguard Award recipient, I want to give a physical manifestation of the point I'm about to make. So on the count of 3, what we're going to do here is you're going to scream, moderately elicit, your favorite Molly Ringwald performance. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Yep, 16 Breakfast in Pink versus the Swans. I like that too. So when I was 7 years old, I think, this is a shout out for my elder millennials from the New York area, I was watching Channel 11, WPIX, WB Frog, and a little movie called The Breakfast Club came on TV, and I watched it, and there were no F-bombs or S words. I was enamored by this movie and this wonderful woman I was watching, and just found myself believing she was this character. And then I found out that she was in every movie that would follow after. So I just kept following her. But it's important to remember that before Molly Ringwald was the iconic young star of John Hughes' teen angst-driven comedies, such as 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink, Breakfast Club, she first starred in Paul Mazursky's contemporary update of Shakespeare's The Tempest. Yes. This is important because the secret of Ringwald's early success and career longevity is the simple fact she has always been one of America's film and television's most gifted and versatile actresses. Her dazzling work this year as Joanna Carson in the Ryan Murphy hit TV series Feud, Capote versus the Swans on FX, is more ample proof that Ringwald's range and acumen remain intact, and audiences can continue to expect new and wonderful surprises from one of their favorite stars. So let's just watch this career reel and get some more proof of that.
We're learning how to live like human beings.
Humans go to the movies. Humans go shopping.
It's just to try to keep my side of the street clean. Instead of trying to fix everything, just remove myself from any situation that is or could become toxic.
Can you ask for it? Can I have?
This sexual activity take place?
What makes Lionel Dahmer's narrative so compelling? Ooh, compelling.
911, what's your emergency?
No more hospitals. I'm very tired.
What's your emergency? Hello?
This is fantastic. This deserves a toast, huh?
All right. And what I can only assume she's about to announce that she is touring with Madonna, and that's why there was so much traffic today. Ladies and gentlemen, the recipient of the Creative Vanguard Award, your legend, my queen, Molly Ringwald.
I don't have a speech prepared because I didn't know that I would have to make a speech. I think this is the first award that I've ever received, ever in my life. So thank you. It's a real honor. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you, everyone who has come thank you. Thank you. I'm going to work on my speeches, just so you know. That's just like a rough draft, but.
All right. Thank you all for coming today. Miss Ringwald, some of us have been a little obsessed with you for longer than we'd like to admit. I always like to start with this question because someone with a filmography like yours, a television resume like yours, always warrants the question, what was the movie or the TV show that did it for you as a kid that you saw, you watched, and you were like, I gotta do that. I gotta get in that box of acting.
Yeah, well, when I started out in theater, from the time that I was really, really little, like 3 years old. I did my first play. So originally, my focus was on theater and on music because my father was a jazz musician, and so I started out singing. And it really, I think, was doing my first movie with John Cassavetes and Jenna Rollins, where I was like, that's what I want to do. This is amazing. Because we didn't really go to the movies that much when I was younger. I think everything that all of my movie education, I think, was on television. We just didn't really go to the movies that much. So I think once I did that movie and sort of experienced filmmaking, and then of course I started to watch all of John Cassavetes' films, and then I realized, oh, that's really what I want to do. So I think it was kind of like John Cassavetes and Paul Mazursky that made me a film actress.
Jenna Rollins will do it for you every time.
Yeah, Jenna Rollins, yeah.
So can't complain. It's always like another kind of weird question, but if you weren't acting, what do you think you would be doing today? Would you have been Dr. Molly Ringwald? Would you have been
a doctor? Well, my math was never really that great, so I would have struggled with that. But maybe a psychologist, I think. What do you think? I have my two kids who've only seen, I think, 2 movies of mine. So that must have been really interesting for you, huh? Yeah, I think probably a therapist of, if I wasn't an actor, I think I would be, a writer, which I am because I can do that as well. Yeah, I think anything that has to do with people and the way that they think and act and why they do what they do is fascinating to me. And I think it's something that I explore in my acting and my writing and singing and translating. Everything that I do is kind of all around the same question, which is why do we do this? Why do people do this? Why do we act this way? Why do we feel this way?
And this is a belief of mine, I believe the greatest actors of our world, the bones of a great actor are made on the stage, and you do come from a theater background. I unfortunately never got to see your Sally Bowles, and I'm very upset about that, but if they ever want to remake it and just do it again, I get full permission for it.
I was a very good Sally Bowles, I gotta say.
Sure
It was really fun too. I did it for 6 months at Studio 54 with Raul Esparza. I don't know if from Miami, Cuban family from Miami. He was the MC, and then I did it with John Stamos, who was also really good. I had 3 really good MCs, and Neil Patrick Harris was the 3rd one. So I did cabaret for a year, and it was just one of those experiences where it's like, where do you get there's just not that many parts like that, like Sally Bowles. It was just so perfect. It's just such a pleasure to play that part.
I'm so sorry you had to do with those 3 guys. That must have been a really terrible experience for you. Do you recall the best direction advice you received throughout your career that you have honed in on, held close to you, that has made you a better actor today?
I think the best career advice I ever received was from a woman named Polly Platt, who was married to Peter Bogdanovich, did art direction, producing, and I remember having dinner with her in my early 20s when I was feeling just very discouraged about everything, and she just said, just don't stop. The only thing that will stop you is you. So all you have to do is just keep doing what you're doing. And I feel like it's always kind of come back to me. Because, it's a really hard business, and there's ups and downs, and there's a lot of competition, and everyone's replaceable, and all of that. But, yeah, I think that was really the most valuable advice that I've received.
Allow me to walk through some of the iconic work that we all got to be introduced to you with. Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink, 16 Candles, among them. Selfishly, I just really want to know, and you can lie to me, is there a Brat Pack group chat? And can I be a part of it in any way?
No,
Okay.
sadly,
There's
no.
not, okay.
The Brat Pack was a little bit of a myth. It didn't really exist. I mean, we're just actors that work together, that were kind of around the same age. But I do text with Ali Sheedy on a regular basis.
That's the best one you can text with.
That's legit. Like we we text back and forth. We're really close. She's kind of like, I mean, she really is like my big sister.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hindsight always 2020. Landing those roles, and when they were released in theaters and received acclaim, and also made a lot of money. Was it happening so fast that you couldn't notice what was happening in that moment, or what do you recall?
No, I mean, I noticed that they were, successful and that people really liked them. What is this? Liquid Death, Mountain Water. Wow. Okay.
It's not like Four Loko or anything happening.
It's just such a great name for water. Yeah, I mean, funny enough, though, 16 Candles came out and didn't really do that well. Because I remember watching it. I think we went to a screening when we were filming The Breakfast Club, and it was like, it's funny now. Those movies have become so iconic that everyone assumes that they all came out and they were huge hits. But 16 Candles was kind of like a little bit of a sleeper. It sort of became more successful, like years later. Breakfast Club was a really big hit as soon as it came out, and that was kind of like, I don't know, I sort of felt it. You kind of feel that sometimes, and that movie really felt like it was really special. But of the 3 John Hughes movies that I did, Pretty in Pink was actually the biggest hit in the theaters, which was a big surprise to me because I thought it was going to be a total bomb. I actually really thought that was going to be a bomb, yeah, and it wasn't. I don't know. I kind of felt like people would have like been fed up with me already and just like, why, but no, people liked it.
Molly was one of those kids in school. They were like, I didn't study for the test, and then she'll get 100. And you'd be like, of course she got 100. It all looked, and I think this is what we have loved so much about you throughout your career, is always looked so effortless for you. Mm-hmm. It like almost in a way that we really did believe you were those characters, but
yeah.
We see some of the greatest actors like, lose 1,000 pounds for a role and, live with lions for a year to get prepared. And you were these very independent women that were finding their voices. How did you prepare at that time? And when you look back, would you have done anything different with those characters?
Well, I don't really like to watch myself on screen very much. So once I finish doing a project, I'm kind of done. Once in a while I do revisit. Like recently I watched those movies again with my kids, because it feels kind of important. But normally I'm kind of like all about what I'm gonna do in the future and less about what I'm gonna do in the past. And there's really no point in saying, I would do something different because you can't. So what's the point? Like that's crazy making. And I'm also like really proud of them for like, for when they were made. There's things about those movies that there are elements that haven't aged as well, but there's still really some stuff that I really love about them. So, yeah.
There used to be libraries, guys. It was crazy. There were libraries and books.
Yeah.
It was a crazy time.
Yeah, it was a great set. That the whole set in the Breakfast Club was, it was not an actual library. It was all created in a gymnasium. That whole library was a set.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I feel lied to.
It was a really good set, though.
Yeah, good production design.
Yeah, great
Oscar
production
worthy.
design.
Yeah.
I would love that statue in the middle. I would kill for that, and the boots that I wore too.
Now that actually, now thinking about it, I do find it very spacious for all you guys to dance in those scenes. I'm like, yeah, that had to be a set. That definitely wasn't a library.
Yeah, well, no libraries are actually that big in schools. So, and since that was the only set that we basically had, it had to be, big.
You've spoken very candidly about the aftermath of your success and really looking for something that spoke to you and what that was like, and turning down some really big roles in the 90s and the 2000s. Looking back at that now, what what kind of mindset were you in at that time, and what have you learned since then?
Well, I was in my early 20s, and I had been working pretty much nonstop since I was a child, so I feel like I kind of needed to kind of take a step back a little bit and kind of just, live my life. So I moved to Paris, and I lived there for a while and learned to speak French and did some movies in French, and I feel like I wasn't really totally prepared for the big success that I had, just because I didn't know that I was, those movies were gonna be that successful. I didn't know that I was gonna be that successful. So I feel like I kind of just needed to take a step back and kind of, I've always tried to think of my career sort of like in terms of longevity and not, and sort of picking projects that are, interesting to me, and also doing things other than act.
When you're allowed to clap anytime you want. You go without feeling. I received a DM threatening me to make sure I asked you about the secret life of an American teenager. They didn't really specify a question. They just wanted you to talk about it and if it would ever come back, and would you do that again? Because it's become such a great show.
The Secret Life of the American Teenager?
Yes.
I don't know why I would do it again. I did it. It's done. No, no, I wouldn't do it again.
In this land of reboots, people just feel like we can do stuff again.
I don't think that people are really in reboots that were in the original, right? Are they? I guess they can be. No, but I don't think, if I was going to reboot something, I don't think that would be it.
Ooh, what would it be? She planted that seed, really. Drop that nugget.
What? No, I'm really not into reboots. I'm really kind of I'm really into kind of making new stuff. Even, when people talk about remaking The Breakfast Club or any of those stuff, why? It was done, it was great. Let's learn from that. Let's not make the same thing. And right? Let's create new material, plus those movies, the movies that, I'm so well known for, they were very much of a time, and if you were to remake that now, I think it would have to be much more diverse, and it would have to be, you couldn't make a movie that white now. Those movies are really, really very white, and they don't really represent, what it is to be a teenager in a school in America today, I don't think. So, but I think that they were really great, and they were of that time, and they really represented John Hughes's experience, and that's what he was writing to his own personal life experience.
So let's reflect on your time during Riverdale. Another favorite, and it just went off to pasture. It's now officially done. Yes. What are some of the great lessons you learned during that show, which garnered a very passionate niche of fans that, if you talk about it badly at all, they threaten you very much.
Really?
Yes, they are very Charles Melton mode this past year, made me learn a lot about that fan base.
Wow, that's so, I had no idea. Yeah, if I talk about what I learned, I learned how to pack really well, because I lived in New York, and I would fly from New York to Vancouver to shoot my scenes for 2 or 3 days. And I just took that flight all the time. So I learned how to pack really well and not take too much stuff. But it was really fun. It was fun to watch those kids grow up. I started the show in its first season. I think I ended up being in it a lot more than I initially planned to, because of the death of Luke Perry. Yeah, that was really awful. But it was really a nice experience to watch those kids grow up. And most of my scenes were with KJ Apa and Charles. I had a few scenes with Charles, and it was really sweet to watch them grow up, and kind of learn, I really feel like I sort of, I went through it with them.
What are the significant differences you see between watching those kids grow up versus when you were coming up in the industry? What has been some of those key notes that you see? Did you give any advice or anything?
Oh my God, no. I don't give any advice.
You said you wanted to be a therapist.
Anyone.
I thought that was like...
I know, but that's when somebody like pays you to give advice, and they want you to give advice. I don't...
Molly don't work for free, guys. Right?
I don't give unsolicited advice, or I try not to anyway. I think the main differences, are the internet. I think that's been huge, and social media. That's and all of that. That's something that I didn't have to deal with when I was growing up, and I think it's made it much harder for young actors today to sort of, I think that's like the main difference. But on the other hand, I feel like they were all super talented and smart, and they're all like doing stuff now, and it's really lovely to watch them in their careers.
You said this was the first award you've ever received, and as the awards editor at Variety, I'm inclined to tell you that you're generating a little bit of Emmy buzz this year for your work on Feud, Capote versus the Swans. Working with Ryan Murphy again after Dahmer Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. What was it like to jump into this world of backstabbing people? In
Feud?
In Feud.
All of my stuff, not unlike Monster, all of my scenes in Feud were with Tom Hollander, who's playing Truman Capote. And in Monster, all my scenes were with Richard Jenkins, who's, both of them are phenomenal actors. So I was really lucky in that way that I got to work with these incredible people, because I feel like as an actor, you can only be as good as whoever you're acting with. And it just kind of, raises your game. So that was great. And, Feud, all of the stuff with all of the backstabbing and all of that. Like my stuff wasn't, I didn't really get to do much with any of the other women, but it was, of course, really fun to watch. It reminds me of middle school, and I have 2 middle schoolers here. So when people say, like, does it remind you of Hollywood, or does it remind you? I'm like, no, it reminds me of middle school. Like, that is middle school.
We're going to grow up one day, I promise, Hollywood. You were on this past season of The Bear.
Yes.
It's incredible. Will you return to The Bear, and how was it like being on The Bear?
I hope so. I mean, I would love to. I was not on last season. I was on the first season. I was like the third episode, I think, second or third episode. It was amazing. I mean, when you talk about my acting seeming effortless, which is a really big compliment, by the way, thank you. I feel like it's effortless when the writing is really good. When the writing isn't good, it's much, much harder. But in the case of The Bear, it was like that writing was so good, the monologue that I had, and I really only am in one scene. It's like practically just a cameo. Well, it is a cameo. But the monologue that I did was so well written. Like, I didn't change one word. I didn't change one comma in it because it was so well written, and therefore really effortless, because when it's that well written, it's just really easy.
Did you learn any good recipes? And what's the best thing that Molly Ringwald cooks? I don't know if I should ask your kids that.
My husband's gonna answer for me. I do a really good bouillabaisse, gotta say. Yeah, I'm a really good cook. My kids don't like anything that I cook, but my husband does. So.
What's your favorite dish?
Yeah, the aioli. I do good aioli. Well, it's pretty easy. It's just a couple ingredients, but
for some of us, it's not easy.
I do appreciate it.
Looking out to the future of your career, because you're in this chapter where it's really exciting to see you still killing it consistently. What roles are you super interested in, and is there something that you want to tell us that you're going to work on?
I have some stuff that I'm working on, stuff that I'm writing that I hope to do. But I think really I'm just interested in playing interesting, complex. Hopefully, I would like to play a character that's maybe not as nice as the characters that I've been playing. I feel like Ryan Murphy thinks I'm a really nice person, which I'm glad, and I am. But I'm also an actor, and I feel like it's really fun to play characters that are very, very different. So I think I'd like to play something that's pretty like dark, and I'd like to play a villain, and I'd love to play a supervillain. I've never done a superhero movie, and I feel like before I die, I'd really love to play a superhero. But actually, no, I'd rather play a supervillain. I think that would be more fun.
If Marvel is listening.
Yeah.
Or DC.
Heard it here first.
I could see you as a really good Poison Ivy now that I'm like, now that you said it. Like it's really,
but that's been done already.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could do that.
Okay.
I could do that.
Any yearn to return to Broadway?
Yeah, I would love to return to Broadway, for sure.
Any roles there is there like a dream role that Molly?
I don't know. What do you think I should do?
I mean, you didn't like my Poison Ivy one. I don't want to give you any more.
I like the Poison Ivy one. What would I do on Broadway? I would love to do Chekhov. I would love to do Shakespeare. I've done Chekhov fan there. Yeah. I've done 2 modern adaptations of Shakespeare, but I've never actually performed, properly on stage in a Shakespeare play. So I'd like to do that. I'd love to do another musical. Yeah. No, Pretty in Pink has not been on Broadway. I don't think that it can. I think John Hughes didn't want to have his films remade. I mean, maybe, but they would have to have permission from the John Hughes estate to do that. And, I don't know really where that, I don't have anything to do with that. Yeah.
She accelerated us into the Q&A from the audience. If anyone has any questions, I will call on you. And there's 2 rules to this Q&A part. I need you to listen to me. 1, you have to ask a question, not a comment. All right? And 2, do not offer a script. She doesn't want to read it right now. Just ask a question, okay? And you have to be nice. Right there.
I was not 22, I was 15. I was 15, 16, and 18 when I worked with John Hughes. He was just a good writer and was writing stuff for, my age, so yeah, I think that was the allure.
Girl in the blue.
A book that I would like to make into a movie. There's so many books that I've read that I would love to adapt. Of course, I can't think of one of them right now because you just asked me that. But yeah, there's so many. What's that? Oh, I thought I heard something.
I was going to say, actually, because you asked before what we were thinking for you, and there's a play. Oh, I'm sorry. There's like 2 conversations. Sorry.
Sorry, what?
James
Oh,
Salter.
yes. Yeah, are you my left brain or my right brain? My husband said there's a book that I do love by James Salter called Light Years, and I would love to adapt that. Yeah.
That's better than what I was going to give. So we're going to go with that one. Yes, miss.
Oh, that I'm working on? No, I can't, not yet, but hopefully soon.
Thank you for doing that for me. I appreciate that very much. Girl in the hat in the back.
I would very much like to direct, and it is definitely on my bucket list. So it just has to be the right thing. But yeah, I have different projects that I'm interested in doing. In the Breakfast Club? No, I think that's just my 16-year-old voice. But you know, I also grew up in California, and so I have, I think when I was younger, I sounded much more Californian, but I've lived in New York for, I would say, much more of my life, and so now I have kind of a little bit California. It kind of depends on who I'm talking to, you know, because I'm a mimic, basically. Yeah, I'm one of those annoying people that spend a couple days in England and suddenly I have a British accent, or, you know, just a total mimic. Yeah, but that was just the way that I talked when I was 16. Yes, absolutely. That's a great idea. Thank you, and thank you. Those are both really great suggestions. Yes, and I love Virginia Woolf, and that would be amazing. I love Miss Dalloway. That would be incredible.
On the Wall. Of the two that you've seen, right? Breakfast Club and
Breakfast
Pretty
Club,
in Pink.
my son, and Pretty in Pink, my daughter.
I'm Team Son on that one. That's good. Miss?
I do. I definitely felt that way when I was making The Bear. I really felt like there was something really special about that. When I read the scripts and I think I saw the first episode and I thought, this is going to be amazing and this is something that I want to be involved with. And nobody had seen it yet, and I thought I loved it. And usually when I get that sort of, you know, frisson, I think somebody else is going to get it. But then sometimes I'm just really, you know, sometimes there'll be something that I think is really great and nobody really likes it. So, you know, you don't really know, but yes, I definitely still get that feeling.
I have just one question. Is there a role that was along the way that you went out for that you didn't get? That you
There's so many.
That you wish to get, which, do you know,
Yeah.
the one you wanted the most?
I mean, I remember not getting Amadeus. I really wanted to play and I met with Milos Forman for that. That was like, that's when I really used to cry hard when I didn't get a role, and I was so sad about that. Even though that was like not the biggest role in the project, I really wanted to be in that movie. What else? I remember meeting with Mike Nichols for Working Girl, and he really wanted to cast me in that, but I was really too young. And I remember, you know, he's like, you're 19 years old. You have your whole life ahead of you. Part of this woman is that she's gotten to the point now where she's like, you know, she just had to be older. Yeah. And I kind of knew that he was right, but I was still really disappointed because I really loved that. Silence of the Lambs, I met with Jonathan Demme for that. And that was another situation where I was too young. There was just so many projects at the time that I wanted to do that I was too young.
She was
basically
going for all Best Picture winners and Best Picture nom. Like you recognized it early on. You knew what they were. That's great. Sir.
Yes. I've never produced anything that I've written for the screen yet. The writing that I've done has been books. I've published a couple of books, and I've written for like the New Yorker. I've written, so it's a very different, you know, it's a different experience. You don't have to ask people for money. It's like, it's very much like you write it, somebody publishes it, or they don't. It's much easier. You know, film, as we know, it's a collaborative process. So you have to have a producer, you have to, all these other elements. Like, to me, it's a much more complicated to me, it's really remarkable that any movies get made at all, let alone good movies. It's just like, it's a lot, you know, it's a lot of stars that have to align to come together.
Sir?
I mean, all of them have been, you know, I think, you know, originally I remember I was going to play Nina in The Seagull, and that, but now I've like aged out of that. I don't know, what role do you think I should play? Yeah. Yeah. I would do that. I would do Uncle Vanya. I mean, like basically anything by Chekhov, I think I would do.
Sir, yellow hat.
Genres that I'm not attracted to? I don't know. I don't think that there's any genre that I wouldn't do if it was good. I mean, you know, there are. I mean, I'm the same with music too. Like there are certain songs or genres that I don't listen to as much, but I think that if it's really good, it just has to be really good. I mean, I'm not really drawn to horror, but I've made a couple horror movies. You know, I think it just depends on the quality of the whatever it is.
I think we have time for 2, 3 more. Ma'am? How did you know what your calling was? How did you set your goals?
How did I know what my calling was? I don't know. I was just very, I kind of knew when I was really young that I wanted to, well, I said that I wanted to be an entertainer. That was what I said when I was like 3 or 4 years old. But to me, that just meant, you know, my father was a musician, so he was performing in front of an audience. I sang. I knew that I was just drawn to that. It was just something that I knew that I wanted to do when I was really young. Just stuff that I've been really interested in. I think I conquer my fears. Well, I feel like I'm always afraid. I feel like it's not like you're never not afraid. You just, I feel like if something is challenging, I mean, sometimes if I'm really afraid, that's because I should be afraid, and that means I shouldn't do it. But sometimes if it's just, I don't know, fear or anxiety, that kind of, to me, says that it's something that's interesting, that I kind of, it's like, to me, it means that there's like creativity that's there, that wants to get out. So, yeah, I think it's just a conversation that I have with myself.
Sir?
Something that I've learned. I don't know. I feel like I'm just learning all the time. Not specifically even when I'm just making movies, just like when I'm like living my life. And it's stuff that I learn every day. There's stuff that I learn from my kids every day, particularly new slang. I never thought that I would not know the slang, but you know. But yeah, but I learned that. Yeah, I think it's just every day. I look at every day as a learning experience.
Awesome. One last
Wait,
one.
There looks like there's like a little girl back there.
Oh, yes. We have to end with you.
Yes. What was that? Something about kissing booth? What about the kissing booth? Oh, how was it like? Well, not as fun for my character, but but I think it was really fun for the other. Did you like the kissing booth? Oh, I'm glad you liked it. It was really actually fun to make because I don't know if you know this or not, but we filmed it in Africa. Did you know that? I know, you thought it was California, right? Yeah, because it was supposed to be in California, but they filmed it in Africa because it's a lot cheaper. Yeah, so we filmed all of those movies in Africa, and sometimes I grew up in California, and sometimes I would forget that I was in Africa. I would actually think to myself, oh, I'm just sitting in Malibu, and then like the monkeys would jump down and like grab the fruit off of the table and scamper off, and I would say, oh, actually. No, I'm in Africa. But it was really fun. It was fun to make it, those movies.
How old are you, honey?
How old are you?
How old are you?
8.
Look at you spanning generations here. Like just touching them all.
Yeah.
I like to hear. We have run out of time, unfortunately, but thank you so much for coming today, guys. One last time, big round of applause, Molly Ringwald.
Thank you.
And go watch Feud if you have not done so already. Thank you.
Thank you.